In St. Louis, they welcomed George Allen, the new head coach of the Redskins, who has built winning teams for years with skin-headed veterans who rarely commit mistakes. Bob Holloway, the new coach of the Cardinals, came from Minnesota, where his defense ruled the black and blue division. Against Washington, the Cardinal defense made the Redskins pay dearly for every mistake. While the Big Red defense stuck its head in every collision fiercely, the conservative Cardinals offense fell flat on its face. The 2 touchdowns scored by their superstar tight end Jackie Smith, number 81, were the only bright moments for St. Louis. For most of the day, the Cardinals looked like they were trying to cope with a slick frisbee instead of catching a football. Quarterback Jim Hart, number 17, spent most of his day groping for the ball rather than throwing it. 3 times the alert Redskins secondary picked off his errant tosses. While St. Louis sputtered, stumbled, and fumbled, Redskin veterans like number 55 linebacker Chris Hamburger accepted each gift and delivered it to the end zone. On offense, Washington relied on the ground-eating strides of Larry Brown, the NFL's leading rusher in 1970. But Redskin glory rested in the sure hands of their tight end Jerry Smith, number 87, whose AstroTurf acrobatics ensured the first Washington win. While Jerry barely missed an impossible touchdown, he came back to score one almost as incredible. While the splendor of his catch cannot be denied, the handshakes and hugs could well have gone to center Lynn Hawes. Hawes, number 56, picked up and polished off number 74, Fred Herron, and allowed quarterback Billy Kilmer that split second of fleeting freedom. The rest was all Jerry Smith as Washington's poised and disciplined veterans dismantled the St. Louis Cardinals 24-17.
St. Louis dominates the first half and takes a 10-7 lead. But the feeling of the game changes suddenly in the third quarter when Chris Hamburger scoops up a fumble and runs it in for a touchdown. Six minutes later, Bill Kilmer clinches a victory for the Redskins with a touchdown toss to Jerry Smith.
Let's have 3 cheers for the Redskins. Hip, hip! Hip, hip! Hip, hip! You know what you did? You beat them in their own backyard. You came from behind, and we showed we got some character. Next week, we get those goddamn Giants.
In the 1971 draft, the New York Giants sought to find the blazing fast receiver to complement quarterback Fran Tarkington. Unfortunately, their number 1 pick, Rocky Thompson, came to camp with fingers like stone. So this Sunday, the Giants went with Plan B against the Redskins and found out the receiver's fingers still had not thawed. Behind a porous forward wall, Tarkenton had many a rough rendezvous with the newly rebuilt Redskin front four. Friend tried everything. He tiptoed up, and he cat-footed back. And then he got flattened time and time again. The Redskins poured in so quickly, Tarkenton began accepting them as part of his own backfield. And finally, Friend became so enamored of his newfound friends, he showed them his new two-handed overhead pass, and they didn't like it at all. When the chaos calmed, the veteran-studded Washington defense, led by linebacker Jack Pardee, number 32, picked Tarkenton clean, and Washington was on its way to victory number 2. Even Tarkenton's replacement, Randy Johnson, couldn't find the hot hand as the hungry Redskins just ate up the giant attack. Washington head coach George Allen waited patiently for his team to explode, but unfortunately, the usually sure hands of Charlie Taylor turned into boards. Fortunately, Taylor's lapse was only momentary, for he came back to stun New York on a 3rd-and-1 situation, when quarterback Billy Kilmer's deception left him with a clear path to a 71-yard touchdown. Taylor's second touchdown covered 70 yards less, but gave Washington all the points they needed for a 30-3 triumph. Next for the Redskins, an appointment in Dallas with the undefeated Cowboys.
In Yankee Stadium, Bill Kilmer stuns the Giants with 2 touchdown passes to Charlie Taylor in the first period. The 14-point lead enables the Redskins defense to gamble, and they launch an all-out assault on Van Tarkenton. Tarkenton is sacked 4 times, and in the 4th period, Jack Pardee intercepts one of his passes and returns it for a touchdown. The Redskins win 30-3.
The last time the Washington Redskins came to Dallas, it rained and the Redskins lost 34-0. It rained last week too, but everything else was different. Although the Redskins had lost their last 6 encounters with Dallas, George Allen, Washington's new head coach, had never lost to the Cowboys, and among the Redskins themselves there were 17 new faces. So these Redskins didn't need the rain to remind them or to whet their appetite for victory. For this was to be a battle of the undefeated in the NFL, and the loser was on the skids. The front 4 Redskins kept sharp pressure on Cowboy quarterbacks Craig Morton and number 12 Roger Staubach throughout the heavy afternoon. Dallas' peerless ground game was limited to 82 yards. George Allen's rebuilt defense played practically a perfect game. Youngster Bill Brundage, number 77, turned in the most spectacular defensive play with this 29-yard sacking of Roger Staubach. The ball control bolts of Washington's great back Larry Brown kept the game well in hand while the Redskin defense rested. And victory came in two spectacular doses. This one a 57-yard shot by number 31, Charlie Haraway. And a 50-yard throw and go from Billy Kilmer to Roy Jefferson left Washington the only undefeated team in the NFL, winning in the rain in Dallas 2016.
First place in the Capital Division is at stake in Dallas. The Redskins match their guts and desire against the Cowboys' speed and skill and win 20-16. Although Washington plays 60 minutes of near-perfect football, the outcome is decided on two key plays. In the first quarter, Charlie Haraway charges through a gaping hole in the Dallas defense and gallops 57 yards for a touchdown. In the second quarter, Roy Jefferson grabs a quick pass from Kilmer, and the Redskins are racing toward a future that will never again be built in the image of the past.
3 cheers for the Redskins. Hip, 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 hip.
Washington is a city in search of a smile. And today, the largest crowd ever to see a sporting event in the capital turned out to see the city's only major league team, the Redskins. That they could evoke this response is due to one man, George Allen. Allen has turned the team into the surprise story of the year, and he has done it following a football philosophy that sets him apart from all others in the pro game. Allen came from Los Angeles, and with him he brought several of his favorite Rams, plus other familiar names such as Pardee, Pettibone, Mason, Vaughn, McDowell, and Dowler. They are known in Washington as the Over-the-Hill Gang, but it's no joke. Their team is in first place with an undefeated record, and today will be trying to achieve something a Washington club hasn't in 28 years. Win its first 4 games. They've done it despite losing quarterback Sonny Jurgensen in preseason. But it's been the defense that has excelled. The Skins trail only the powerful Vikings in defense in the NFC. This from a team that finished last in almost every defensive category the previous year. When he joined Washington in January, Allen vowed to put heat on enemy passers, and he succeeded famously. Today, on a gray, rainy Sunday, Washington's new strength was to be tested by one of the largest teams in football, the Houston Oilers. When quarterback Billy Kilmer passed to Charlie Taylor in the flat for a first down. Although the play was successful, it started a trend of inopportunism on offense for Washington. A repeat shows Taylor had only one man to beat, but slipped trying to cut, or he might have gone all the way. On the very next play, Kilmer went to his other wide receiver, Roy Jefferson, on a bomb that was placed perfectly. The play covered 47 yards to the Houston 15. 2 plays, and Washington had their opponents reeling. But now, with the goal line simply yards away, the Oilers' huge defense stiffened. Houston's front line stacked up Charlie Haraway, but Houston was penalized for offsides, and Washington had a first down at the 10. On 2 successive plays, Kilmer went to his ace runner, Larry Brown, but Houston held. New Oiler coach Ed Hughes, a former Redskin, has gone for beef up front. And in Alan Aldridge, Mike Tilleman, Ron Billingsley, and Elvin Bethay, he has it. They average well over 270 pounds. A third down end zone pass was out of the reach of Jerry Smith, so Washington had to settle for a Kurt Knight field goal from the 15. These men is more than talent. They know his system, believe in it, and make it work. Houston discovered it quickly. Washington's second line on defense was everywhere, and Houston could go nowhere. On second down, number 56, Bob Young took out number 32, Pardee, but Padios came over fast to reduce this gain to minor yardage. On third down, Charlie Johnson tried to pass for the first time today and again found the front 4 and linebackers in evidence. The Oilers had met the new Washington defense. Washington took over with great field position and on the first play appeared to take advantage of it. But Charlie Taylor's triumph turned to chagrin. The yellow nylon signified holding, and instead of a touchdown, Washington had a first down on the Houston 35. Once again, the Oilers' defense had it when it needed it. They refused to relinquish a first down, and once again, Kurt Knight was called upon. His kick from the 36 was good, and Washington was ahead 6-0. Championships are won. A good quarterback takes advantage of opportunity, and Billy Kilmer turned to his 2 fine runners. Number 31, Charlie Haraway, is the perfect complement to last year's leading runner, Larry Brown, number 43. Watch Haraway's block on the cornerback on 2 consecutive plays that produce short yardage and a first down. Then, with the defense wary of the run, Kilmer stung the Oilers with a pass to Taylor over the middle for 43 yards. In one quick strike, Washington was on their opponent's 20-yard line. A repeat of the play shows Houston's linebackers blitzing, but Kilmer had good protection. Taylor was well covered by Benny Johnson and finally caught from behind by Ken Houston. The second period began, and once again in the shadow of their own goal line, the Houston defense got tough. Kilmer couldn't move the ball on 2 straight running plays, so on third down, he went to Charlie Taylor, who again got behind the cornerback Johnson. Unfortunately, he was out of the end zone. The pass was incomplete, and Washington again had to settle for Kurt Knight's 3 points. Goal, number 79, intercepted the pass and rolled 18 yards for the score. The Washington defense again had bailed out their offensive counterparts. Taylor's reaction tells the story of his attempt. The ex-Eagle place kicker had made a 42-yard kick. So Washington went into the locker room at halftime with merely a 6-point lead. The Redskins had at times moved the ball well, and indeed they had scored 4 times. But Johnson met disaster. Pressured by Talbert, Johnson forced his pass to the flat, and Jack Pardee picked it off, setting up the Skins on the Oiler 13. Another view of the play showed that Pardee covered his man perfectly, timed his move, and made a textbook play by a linebacker covering a setback. George Allen's old man theory was never more in evidence here, and never more correct. What Pardee may lack in size and speed at age 35, he more than makes up for in experience and wisdom. And he gave Allen's offense the ball on the 13 as the third quarter ended. .60 John Wilbur brush block his man, then roll out and throw another block on still another Oiler defender. A rare Kilmer pass on 3rd and 7 from the 10 just missed its mark in Charlie Taylor. The Redskins had to settle for a field goal and a 19-13 lead. Johnson twice, but pressuring him constantly. Midway through the final quarter, hit by Hanberger and Padios, Oiler receiver Walt Frazier lost his reception, and Hanberger recovered and the Skins took over on the Oilers' 36. But Houston held, and on 4th and 1, leading by 6, Allen met with Kilmer and decided to go for the field goal. The decision was good. The kick was not. Although his teammate tried to help the decision, Knight knew better. The Redskins still led by 6. But Kurt Knight would have his day. 2 minutes later, he had another chance. Watch his concentration. He never looks up till the ball is near the uprights. Knight, who spells his name like Sir Galahad, had indeed redeemed himself, setting a Redskin record with 5 three-pointers. Knight is a convert from soccer style to orthodoxy, and he's given Washington a 9-point lead with 5 minutes to play. Pastorini to try to pull it off. But on his first pass, Pastorini hammered the final spike into the Oilers' coffin.
The largest football crowd in the history of the nation's capital jams Kennedy Stadium to see the only undefeated team in pro football.
As you guys know, I look for a low-scoring game. They got a hell of a defense, you see, and the win might be a factor. But the win and special teams can be in our favor. See, we got better special teams, right? You see, so I want you to get everyone to feel that way. Damn, you guys been here and been through the losing years, and now we want to win.
60,000 people watched the Redskins and the Houston Oilers explode into a seesaw battle of defenses. Over this bruising struggle looms the figure of Kurt Knight, whose 5 field goals provide the winning margin and enable Washington to stretch its winning streak to 4 games.
At Robert F. Kennedy Stadium, the undefeated Washington Redskins sought their 5th consecutive victory. Their opponents were the disappointing St. Louis Cardinals, who were snake-bitten from the opening kickoff. The finely aged, vintage burgundy and gold Redskin defense smothered every loose ball. They cut off the deep pass and made the whip-it-fast Cardinal receivers pay dearly for the short ones. Their linebackers rarely allowed quarterback Pete Beathard the time to set up and throw. And when his pocket was secure, they dropped back and robbed him blind. Once again, the over-the-hill gang was led by number 32 Jack Pardee, whose 3 interceptions fattened his total to 5 for the year. But the play that clearly deflated the Cardinals came when MacArthur Lane crashed over the goal line, minus 1 shoe and the ball. 34-year-old Richie Pettibone came up with the football, and things were looking good for the NFL's leading cheerleader and resident miracle worker. On offense, the Redskins rammed the ball down the Cardinals' throat and rushed for nearly 230 yards. Nifty Larry Brown ran for 150 yards and put on a dazzling display of open field running. Quarterback Billy Kilmer passed sparingly, but his oft-criticized passing style was always right on the money. Receivers Roy Jefferson, number 80, and Charlie Taylor, number 42, spun through the Cardinal zone silky and smooth. Although this touchdown to Taylor was called back, it mattered little as Billy Kilmer called his own number and his beach ball body bounced into the end zone, and Washington won a 20-0 shutout victory. Head coach George Allen's undefeated Redskins now owned a fat 2-game lead over the faltering Cowboys, and things were looking up in the nation's capital.
It appeared that Washington would go somewhere in this series when Larry Brown ripped through a gaping hole over left end for 25 yards. But then, on third and short yardage, the Kansas City quarterback tried to flip to Otis Taylor and suffered his second interception. Only a diving tackle by Dave Hill stopped Pat Fisher from scoring. A repeat of this play reveals that Dawson wasn't really under pressure. His pass was simply a poor one, nowhere near Otis Taylor. The Washington defense continued to make the big play as they have all season. It's interesting that the man who made it was Pat Fisher. The matchup of the tiny cornerback on the much taller Taylor was touted to be one of the keys of this game. Fisher had drawn the first blood in the duel. It took one play for Billy Kilmer to capitalize on the gift. Off a play fake to Charlie Haraway, he flipped to Charlie Taylor in the end zone for a touchdown. Taylor's signal made it official. Washington led Kansas City 7-0. Charlie Taylor got way behind Emmett Thomas, and the result was a 49-yard pass play to the Chiefs' 33. Again, Kansas City got tough in their own territory, and on third down, Kilmer's pass for his other fine receiver, Roy Jefferson, was too low. Washington settled for a field goal, and the score was 10-6. On the Chiefs series, Dawson continued to have his difficulties passing against Washington's zone defense, which was masterful in disguising their coverage in the first half. With slightly over a minute left in the half, Washington took over on their 29, and Kilmer began an aerial barrage that had the Chiefs reeling. After passes to his tight end Jerry Smith and Charlie Taylor put them on the Chief 36, Billy the Kid, with less than a minute to go, shot a perfect pass off Taylor's chest. He made the grab and streaked into the end zone. With shocking suddenness, Washington had increased their lead to 17-6. The Chief cheerleaders urged their team on, but time in the half ran out. The Redskins' sudden score was a costly one, however. Charlie Taylor had fractured his ankle on the brilliant play and will be lost for 2 months, pressured and pounded by the front four. The Redskins' defense had stopped the Chiefs' momentum, and in the process gave their offense good field position throughout this quarter. It was becoming more evident, however, that the Redskins' offense was in trouble because they couldn't establish a consistent running game. Kilmer did convert 2 big third down plays on this drive, though, and moved the ball from midfield to the Chiefs' 30. The second went to Boyd Dowler, who had entered the game for Charlie Taylor. Dowler is good, but there is no substitute for a superstar. Inside their 30, the Chiefs' defense does overtime. A team may pile up yardage on them between the 20s, but the Chiefs have proven over the years that it's another matter to score on them. On third down from the 26, however, the Redskins betrayed themselves when Mac Alston dropped a pass that in retrospect became one of the big plays of the game. It was a big play because on third down, Boyd Dowler, too, failed to hang on to Kilmer's throw, and on fourth down, Kurt Knight would miss from the 33. Instead of having the ball on the 3, the Redskins came up empty, though they still led by 4. In for another shot, and the man who led Washington was Charlie Haraway. The Chiefs' defense was keying on Larry Brown, and Kilmer wisely used Haraway to perfection, first on a flare and then on a draw down to the Chiefs' 20 as the third quarter ended. But on a 3rd and 3 from the Chiefs' 14, a bad snap put any hopes of a Redskin touchdown on ice. They had to settle for a field goal and a 7-point lead with 14 minutes to play. But for Washington, the sun, which had shone so brightly on them most of the game, was about to set. Hayes to pull in the secondary and keep his eye on his target despite a charging lineman. His pass was true, thrown high and away from the defender. Taylor's beautiful one-hand catch was the capper to another great day for the 7-year man from Prairie View. Taylor is not the Chiefs' tallest man, but he is the biggest Chief of them all. He has consistently made the big plays that have turned games around, and he was on the verge of winning another one for Kansas City. The Big O, Otis Taylor, and the Big D, the Chiefs' defense. Kilmer tried vainly to rally his team with 2 minutes left, but in the end, this was not to be the Redskins' day. Kilmer's receivers dropped passes, and the full fury of the Chiefs' front four dropped Kilmer. On this final series of the game, Billy Kilmer relived some of the frustration he had known in the past, but had forgotten in his first 5 victories of 1971. 4th and 15. The Chiefs dug in for one last stand. Billy Kilmer dug in for one last try. It was all over, and cornerback Jim Marsalis let everyone know it. As he watched his offense run down the final seconds, Coach Hank Stram must have been well satisfied.
Lynn Dawson passes the Kansas City Chiefs to a last-second victory, and Allen loses his first game of the season.
For years, Sonny Jurgensen has been a pillar of Washington's offense, a pillar to Charlie Taylor's post, and together they were wonderful. But for now, they are lost, and Roy Jefferson, a former All-Pro misfit, and a roustabout quarterback named Billy Kilmer are filling in for Washington's dynamic duo. And with the help of a rebuilt rough-and-tumble defense, the Redskins are winning. Last week against New Orleans, neither Archie Manning nor his replacement, number 14, Ed Hargett, could shake Washington out of its power position defense. And although the Saints scored twice in the fourth period, they were never allowed a hope of victory. Hargett and Manning were constantly harassed and sacked 6 times. Number 37, Pat Fisher, iced the game with this interception and 53-yard touchdown run. While Washington's offense and special squads allowed 6 turnovers, apparently suffering a post-Kansas City big game letdown, the defense was undaunted, and the game ball, the token of victory, was shared by Fisher, Myron Patios, and Jimmy Jones, all members of the defense. And Billy Kilmer threw for 204 yards. This long strike to Roy Jefferson. And he directed a ground attack worth 173 more yards. Kilmer is the leader. He is cut out of the bandy-tough Bobby Lane mold. Follow this 1-yard touchdown run in super slow motion. Follow number 17 and see in his face with what feelings he has won the leader's place on the Redskins. Number 43, the mighty mongoose, is the final ingredient needed for a Redskin victory. And against New Orleans, Larry Brown rushed for 113 yards. On a repeat of this play, watch number 56, Lynn Hawes, blow open a gaping hole in the Saints' line. Behind Kilmer and Brown and a rugged defense, Washington's mistakes were invisible as the Redskins brushed by New Orleans 24-14 to take a commanding lead in the NFC East.
Against the Philadelphia Eagles, Bill Kilmer is intercepted 4 times. The Redskins can manage only 1 touchdown and must settle for a tie.
In Washington, the awestruck fans came in all sizes. They were cute and cuddly or big, bearish, and swaggering, and all firm in the conviction that the Eagles were nothing more than cannon fodder for their red-hot Redskins. Neither the fans nor the vintage Washington defense showed any respect for the impish Eagle offense. Through the air and on the ground, the white shirts were battered by the burgundy. But early optimism faded when it became apparent that the hard-hitting Redskins were being outslugged and out-toughed by the Eagles. Larry Brown, number 43, the NFC's leading rusher, gained an anemic 43 yards and 22 carries, and often was a middleman caught in a collision. While Brown lay bruised and dizzied, quarterback Billy Kilmer sat and searched for the answer that would unlock the Eagles' defense. He never found it. 4 times Kilmer was intercepted. Twice by brash Bill Bradley, who turns defense into instant offense for Philadelphia. After a scoreless first half, the Eagles gained a 7-0 advantage when reserve quarterback Pete Lisk found setback Ronnie Bull with a perfect touchdown strike. But the real story of this game was not in what the Eagles did, but what they didn't do. 4 times Philadelphia was betrayed by Happy Feller's erratic toe. Trying to cement an Eagles victory late in the last quarter, Feller's field goal try was blocked, and spectacular Speedy Duncan, number 45, turned the game around for Washington. Billy Kilmer was given 1 too many chances, and behind airtight protection, he threw a rainbow to Clifton McNeil that tied the game at 7. With 50 seconds remaining, Washington moved within 1 play of a winning field goal, and place kicker Kurt Knight nervously waited for his moment of glory. It never came. Kilmer elected to go for broke and threw into the teeth of double coverage, and was intercepted by Bradley again. Bradley returned to the Eagles' 43. 35 seconds remained. On Pete Lisk's first 2 tries, he was harassed, hurried, and buried by the Redskins. There were no timeouts left, but there was still time, 21 seconds. Time for just 1 pass and maybe a field goal try. Pete Lisk's plan was simple. Throw up a prayer and pray somebody would catch it. When Harold Jackson was unable to reach the sidelines, the Eagles rushed out their kicking unit, but the game-wise Redskins stalled long enough to kill the clock. Happy Feller was denied a 5th chance and the game ended. It was a shocking end for a team that deserved much better than a tie. In Chicago's Soldier Field, an odd couple of contenders. The Bears and the Redskins went head-to-head. Without their great back, Larry Brown, old pro Tommy Mason carried on and distinguished himself for the Redskins. And number 5, Kurt Knight, kicked 5 field goals, amounting to a 15-3 third-quarter lead. But with the TD medicine missing from the teepee, the Redskins fell prey to Chicago's newest costume superhero, Bobby Douglas. The blonde-haired bear with the butkus-like body threw for 194 yards, and he ran for a spectacular 88 more yards, mostly in the second half, closing Washington's advantage to 15-9. Then number 22, Cyril Pinder, pierced right guard for 40 yards, and Chicago wanted only an extra point to lead in the last minutes of the game. After some confusion, Douglas hit his counterpart for the defense, Dick Butkus, and the Bear hung on. Not until the darkest last moment did number 9, Sonny Jurgensen, come in to play. In his first appearance of the season, in less than a minute, Jurgensen drove the Skins into scoring position. But Kurt Knight missed his 6th field goal try. And the Bears were the victors 16-15. After winning 5 straight, the Redskins have won but 1 of their last 4 games. George Allen's teams have a history of burning out in the stretch. Still, the 1971 Redskins bubble is intact. They remain the leaders in the NFC East. But they must love this delicate dream of kings, lest it burst in their face this week against the Cowboys.
Last Sunday, George Allen and Ed the Hatchet Kayat again stalked the sidelines. After a previous 7-7 tie, it behooved Allen to exhort his hopefuls to greater measures. Consequently, the innovative Allen introduced the Invisible Man defense, and the enraged Invisible One soon had the better of Pete Lisk. But for the most part, the Redskins' defense was quite real, and often in the person of number 32, Jack Pardee. Number 41, Mike Bass of the defense, made the game-winning play with his interception and 38-yard return for a touchdown. The Eagles' biggest offensive play came when number 9, Billy Wallach, returned a Mike Bragg punt 50 yards. Wallach's return served to showcase Pete Lisk's unique quarterbacking style. With the Invisible One draped all over him from the seat of his pants, Lisk found young Steve Zabel in the end zone. But it was too little and it was too late. In an attempt to refuel the sputtering Redskin offense, Sonny Jurgensen made his first start of the season. But a crushing blow from the mad Yugoslavian Tim Rosovic, number 82, sent Jurgensen from the game. Billy Kilmer replaced Jurgensen and sparked the Redskin air game. This one to Clifton McNeil. Quarterback Kilmer managed the only touchdown by the Washington offense when he teamed with number 80 Roy Jefferson on a 37-yard throw and go. The Skins won 20-13, preserving their hopes for an NFC playoff spot. At first, the Redskins were out for being the Redskins. Then they were in for winning 5 straight. And then, by reason of key injuries and for winning only one of their next 5 games, they were out again. During midseason, their hopes for an NFC playoff spot turned dark. But last Sunday, facing the New York Giants, things looked bright indeed. The Washington defenders have lost none of their determination, and once again the day was won by defense. Giants managed only 7 points. That came when a punt was blocked by Pat Hughes and recovered in the end zone by Otto Brown. But the Redskins' offense was equally poor with Billy Kilmer at the helm. Washington managed only 4 pass completions for 35 total yards, and it was left to the defense to put the ball in scoring position. Fran Tarkenton was intercepted the first 3 times the Giants had the ball. In all, the Skins collected 5 steals, including this one by number 55, Chris Hanberger. Following this interception, Larry Brown zipped 17 yards, making the first period score 13-0. When the Washington offense did move, it moved in the tracks of number 43, Larry Brown. In 25 carries, their bruised hero gained 129 yards. And the combined rest of the Washington offense did not do half as well. But Brown and the defense have kept the Redskins in the running all season long. Brown's second touchdown effort made the score 20-0 at the half, and the Redskins went on to win 23-7.
80,000 people packed the Coliseum, and 63 million more watched the game on national television.
Are those guys in for a surprise? Right down their throat!
My fault for trying to waggle. I wanted to get you the ball quick, so you turn around. That's what I was saying. It looked so good. That's why I tried to hit you in the chest, and I didn't.
Forget about the mistakes. Forget about the mistakes. We're moving the football on them. We're moving it, and we're going to go. Now just keep it up. Forget about the mistakes. Let's go. Get your heads up. Get your heads up. That's what it's going to take to beat them. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Square out when I ran it. I gave him that inside move like to the post. And bye-bye again, baby.
Okay. Let it go.
All right, let's go, sis.
Take it to him. Take it to him.
Stick him. Stick him.
All right, Mike. Who's got it? We got it.
Away, Joe. 6 yards away.
Gotta have this score. Gotta have it. Gotta have it, Bill!
This is the ball game right here. Come on! God damn, all of this is guts down here.
Too close to let him stop us now! said 29M boss.
All right, let's run it.
They're in tight as hell.
Let's run.
Tell
Let's run.
What you got to get is...
Here's what my policy is usually to go for 3 points. How close are we to a touchdown?
About an inch.
Is that right?
That's all.
That's a totem pride.
We're going to go for the goddamn 4th down play, see?
Bill, can you run the 29M boss and tell Charlie he's got to block Kirby?
Comes the block of his life. Come on.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Just get nasty. Get me. You got to be over here now.
Nice block, Charlie, baby. You made it, baby. You made it.
You kidding me? I'm on the bridge.
Everybody in here. Everybody in here.
This is greatest. Greatest thing in the world.
3 cheers for the Redskins. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hey, let's have 3 more. 3 cheers for the Redskins. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. Hey, I got first one, Speedy. The damn guy that prepared so much, and hell, we're going to go a long ways together, but here's George Allen. Thank you.
Redskins are in the playoffs. It is the most successful Washington team in 29 years, and George Allen is named Coach of the Year.
But the Redskins won, and with Allen as coach and cheerleader, the Redskins made postseason competition for the first time since 1945. Under George Allen, the Redskin defense, which had been charitably described as pathetic, became a real good one. 49er running backs Kenny Willard, number 40, and Vic Washington, number 22, found out how good in the first quarter as they were denied running room. Quarterback John Brody, incomparable at finding open receivers, was forced from the pocket on one occasion and forced into incomplete passes on several others. The Skins definitely meant business, and the special teams forced the game's first big mistake. Steve Spurrier's third punt was blocked by John Jaquan, number 48, and the Redskins had the ball at San Francisco's 28-yard line. With the 49ers shutting off the run, quarterback Bill Kilmer began looking for tight end Jerry Smith, an all-pro candidate who's been hurt most of the season. Washington converted a crucial 4th down and inches and scored the game's first touchdown on a pass from Kilmer to Jerry Smith. But the 49ers knew something about defense as well. With the offense faltering, the Washington return team set about to win the game themselves. Ted Vactor returned a punt 47 yards late in the first half. And leading 10-3, the Redskins threatened to blow the game wide open. With but seconds remaining in the half, Allen and Kilmer decided on a little razzle-dazzle to cross up the over-pursuing 49er defense. But Cedric Hardman, number 86, maintained his position and made the big play. A move made even more important as the Redskins' attempted field goal was blocked by Frank Nunley, and the score remained 10-3 Washington. Again, the 49er defense had held, and while Dick Nolan could find some solace in that, his offense was not scoring. 66 yards before Johnny Fuller saved the touchdown. Here is where the game changed its entire complexion. Nolan's defense again faced 4th down and inches, and again the Redskins gambled for it. Frank Nunley threw the play for a loss, and the 49ers took over. This play will be pondered for years because 3 snaps of the ball later, the 49er offense got very healthy. But the Redskins hardly played possum. On the ensuing kickoff, Speedy Duncan roared back 67 yards, and that led to a Washington field goal by Kurt Knight. Offensively, Kilmer was attempting to exploit right cornerback Mike Simpson, number 38, who was playing for the injured Bruce Taylor. But Simpson, like the rest of the 49er defense, was not about to be had. The consistent second-half pressure exerted by San Francisco paid off when the special teams atoned for their poor kickoff coverage by recovering a bad snap in the end zone for a touchdown. Bob Hoskins, number 56, pounced on San Francisco's insurance, and the graffiti was pretty well on the wall. Kilmer did engineer a fourth-quarter drive that resulted in a touchdown to Larry Brown, but by then it was too late. Kilmer's last hope was smothered by Cedric Hardman. The 49ers had won 24-20.
George Allen goes west again, this time to San Francisco, to try to set a crown on his season's work.
You know what, man? Another surprise party!
Let's do it! Knock the cornbread hell out of that guy. Now let's go! Baby Larry! That's the way! Come on, no, they're not gonna let up either! It's away, Larry! Shove him down the field! Go, 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 go! Wow!
The Redskins control the game, and a touchdown by Jerry Smith gives them a 10-3 halftime lead. But the pattern of the contest changes in the third period when Allen is once again faced with a crucial 4th down decision.
All right, good. When do we call? We only got 3 inches. We're gonna go for it. God damn, we're gonna go for it. Go for it.
All right, go!
Come on, you got him on the run.
Right, here's what you gotta do!
This is the ball game right here.
Ball game, Bill. Ball game. Ball game! Get it! Get it! Get in there, Larry! Where was he going? Hey, Brody! Pass!
San Francisco launches a shattering counterattack, and it soon becomes evident that this is the Redskins' last game of 1971.
A lot to be thankful for, and we're all proud of you guys. We made too many mistakes to win, but I know damn well that we're going to have a championship football team next year. And no alibis, no excuses. Let's kneel down. Tom, will you lead us in prayer?
Father, it's not easy to come to this moment. It's been a long season, and defeat is not an easy thing to take. Help us to bear the sting that we face at this moment, and help us to go into the future with whatever you have for us.